So we're going to do printing strings and numbers today. I'm just going to make this smaller. Okay, so what we have here is, we did this last time, you can follow along with the lesson. So the original notebook is on GitHub and it'll be there, and you can always download that, but for today you have a local copy that you can run on your computer and making sure that everything's working. So first thing we'll do is cover strings. So in your assignments with Learn Python the Hard Way, there's a lot of print commands, and the reason that he does it that way is because if you're running a Python script, to actually see the output of a command, you have to type print. But in Jupyter Notebooks, you don't have to type print. It will automatically print the value of an expression. So at least it will if it's the sort of last expression in a cell. So in this case, we can type print and then this sentence, but we also could have done this, and it will give us basically the same thing, except for now it's showing us that it's a string instead of printing the value of the string effectively. So we can either use single quotes or double quotes. And we covered last time that the reason that you would, or we covered this when we were using grep, was the reason you might want to play around with double and single quotes is if you want to use the quotes inside of a string. So here we want to put this word, bird being the word, in single quotes. So we put the whole string in double quotes and then it works. If we'd use double quotes for everything or single quotes for everything, it would get confused about where the string was. So same thing, we can switch and use double quotes for the expression and single quotes for the sentence. And another option, if we want to use double quotes for everything, is we can use a backslash. So this is an escape. This is called an escape character, and it allows us to say basically, yes, I really want to type this. I really want this character to show up, and not some special meaning that it might have. So the pound sign we don't have to escape in Python, but the double quote or the escape character itself, the backslash, has to be escaped. We can also do, with strings, we can concatenate strings. So here we're still using a print command, but we're taking these two strings and we are adding them, but it's not going to add them as numbers. It's going to, Python will understand that these are strings, and so they should be treated as such. And so the addition character, that plus character, has a different meaning with strings. It means concatenation. And then we also have this ability to do a block of text. So if we do 3 quotes, and this can be either single or double quotes, it will print it as a block of text, which recognizes these carriage returns and will print the block in that way. And then there are other special characters that, again, you see this escape character, but if it's that backslash followed by a T, that means a tab. A backslash followed by an N is a new line character. So here we're printing tab 1 and then a new line, and then another tab 2 and then a new line, and then another tab and then 3. So we can see that the text is offset by a tab, and then there's a new line between them. All good? Okay, so one thing to note about strings is that they have a lot of the properties of lists because they are effectively, you can think of a string of characters as a list of characters that's in a particular order. So we can assign capital S to be spam. This is assigning this value, this string is the value assigned to this variable S. And so strings have certain properties, including the length. So the length of S is 4. So four characters, the length is 4. And we can also pull out individual characters using this notation. So if we just wanted the first letter, sorry, I didn't actually execute these. Okay. If we just wanted the first letter, we could type S, and then square brackets is used to index the string. And then if we wanted to combine them together, we can put commas between them, and this will actually make a tuple, which is a kind of like a list of the individual characters. But the main idea here is this ability to index characters in the string. So if we want the last letter in the string, we can type -1. This has to do with how indexing happens. I'll explain this in a minute. And what effectively this is doing is this is saying I'm going to take the length of that -1. So this would be 4 minus 1 is 3. And because indexing works from 0, 3 would be in a 4-letter word, 3 would be the last character, 0, 1, 2, 3. And so going backwards, -1 would be the last letter, -2 would be the second to last, -3 would be the third to last, -4 would be the fourth to last, and in this case the last, in this case the first letter in that string. We can also slice from 1 to 2, but not 3. This is that idea that you don't go up through the thing that you're indexing, you just go up to it. You can also start from the first letter and then go to the end, so that would be starting at 1, and then this colon says I'm going to go to the end. You don't have, it kind of is implied that whatever the end of that, whatever the last letter is, you would go through that. And then when we're running these operations, so real quick, let me see how much we have on this. Okay. So one thing, let's try one thing. So you've noticed that sometimes I haven't been executing these cells, and it's fine because the output is already saved in the notebook from when it was on GitHub. But let's try something. We're up to kernel here, and we restart the kernel. Let's do one thing. Sorry, we're going to restart and clear output. So we'll do this again. And the reason I did that is a couple of reasons. I want to make sure that both of us don't forget to execute cells and that we make sure everything is working. Because if you just have the output from GitHub, everything will look great, and you won't know if it actually was running on your machine or not. So what we can now do is we can go to this cell here. We can start this one where it says we use comments. We can use comments, and then go to this menu item cell and say run all above. What this will do is just start at the beginning and just plow through the notebook up until here. So it's now run the first 14 lines of input and output. So now we can keep going. We can remember when we want to execute a cell, we type Shift Enter. So we can type Shift Enter, Shift Enter. We've done this. We've done this, and then the next point to make here is that with all of these indexing things that we've been doing, the value of S is not changed. So it still is what it was, no matter sort of all the different things that we've been doing to it. And then if we want to go up through, but not including the last letter, we can type from 0 to -1. That's the same as just typing colon to -1. And if we wanted to basically copy the whole thing, we want to index the whole thing, we type colon. And there's a few other string options here. So we can, just like this plus did concatenation, a multiplication will repeat the string. It doesn't come in useful that often, but it's available. We can also, again, we can concatenate, and if we wanted to change the value of s, one way we can do that is we can say s equals and then something else. We can take part of s. So this would take the first letter will be z, and then we're going to take the last, starting from the second letter to the end of s. Okay?